One of the research strands we've been following at Newcastle University in the United Kingdom, which is where I've been working for the last 7 years, is understanding gait and the influences on gait. And we know, of course, that Parkinson's disease is a multi-system disorder. We think of it as a movement disorder still, but it's actually much more than motor control. It's about cognition, it's about mood, these associated areas that impact on everyday function, and certainly on gait. So whereas maybe a decade or 12 years ago I would have thought that gait was a purely motor act, it's a highly repetitive, it's predictable occurrence that would one step in front of the other, and you would think, it wasn't terribly complex. In actual fact, gait is influenced by a range of things. So we know that gait is influenced by not just the motor disturbances in Parkinson's disease, but by these other systems, including cognition. But we can actually put that to good use, and we can harness cognition, particularly attention, to improve our gait and our performance in general. And one of the ways that we do this is through the use of cues and attentional cues. And I know that there are people in New Zealand working very closely in this, what we call movement strategy training. And it's people with Parkinson's disease are usually very aware of it themselves, that if they really concentrate, focus on their walking, they can improve very aspects of their gait. So, for example, we had a guy with very early Parkinson's disease we've worked with in Newcastle, and he takes, as often people do, very short steps, which influences his gait, slows his gait speed right down. And we worked with John, and we said to him, let's just get some long steps going. We found the right cue, which was for him just to be saying in his mind, long step, long step, long step. And that improved his asymmetry, it improved his arm swing, it improved his step length, it improved his gait speed. Now, for John to maintain that, to be thinking about his walking in an everyday function is, of course, challenging, because we don't go through life only ever thinking about the way we move. In fact, it's something we'd never normally do unless we're climbing a mountain or falling off a cliff. Then we'd start thinking about it. But really, it's about how can we retain this when life is complex and we're doing 2 things at once or 3 things at once. It's possible to do it. Movement strategy training, the studies that have been done have shown that you can certainly harness that cognitive or attentional control, and if you practice, it will become ingrained and it will just become something that's there for you to call on all the time. So I would encourage people to really think about their gait, think about their movement, and find a cue. It might be an intentional cue, like John. It might be listening to using a metronome to get some kind of auditory step frequency sound going. It might be listening to music. It might be putting visual cues out. Saw a fantastic example yesterday of a visual cue. Baz Bloom was talking on our interdisciplinary session, and he showed a video clip of a home environment where the daughter of a person with Parkinson's had actually enabled a virtual series of steps to be placed. So whenever this person worked through their environment and they were normally freezing and getting stuck with their walking, they saw a virtual series of steps, and that cued them to improve their gait, and they did not festinate or freeze, and they walked effortlessly. And I thought, oh wow, that's technology really coming to the fore.